Guys, and welcome back to my book corner. I stopping by for today. We are reviewing something by an author I have never read before. We are reviewing The Haunting of Blackwood House by Darcy Coates. So this book was another impulse buy. I'm pretty much on an impulse buy book kick. I bought a lot of books at Barnes and Noble, and this was one of the ones that I bought. I was wandering through the horror section, and the cover of this book really caught my eye. I really find if a book has good cover art, that I'm more likely to read it, and this one suckered me with the good cover art. So I read the back and I thought, okay, let's give this one a go. I really like supernatural books. I'm a pretty big fan of the horror genre. Let's just start with a quick description of what is this book about. So our main character is Mara, and she had a really, really rough childhood. It was filled with creepy seances, phony fake mediums, and this was all because her parents were spiritualists and afterlife and all of those things. So basically, the start of the book started fresh with her fiance Neil, who, honestly, you guys, he is the biggest sweetheart of a character that I've ever read, and he steals the show. But we'll talk more about him in a minute. So she moved far away from her parents and basically superstitions that she's come to really deep hate. And that's a pretty big theme in the book is how much she hates superstition stuff in general. She doesn't believe in ghosts, all of that nonsense. It's deeply rooted in her belief system just because of how she grew up. So then basically Blackwood House. She needs to find a place to live super fast because she doesn't want to live in the apartment that she currently lives. So she purchases this creepy, creepy house, knowing that it has a history of murder and people have claimed they see ghosts, but she goes, nah, that there's no way. There's no way that's BS. Which I just want to say, by the way, you guys, I will never buy a house that somebody's died in it at. And if somebody says, oh, it has ghost history, oh, hell no. I am not buying that house. So 10 out of 10, she is crazy buying this house. But okay, what did I actually like about the book with that aside? I did like this spooky storyline. I'm a big fan of supernatural books. If you guys have lurked around my channel by now, you know that that's probably my genre too. And this book was no exception. It did a really good job of making the house feel creepy because it incorporated all the stories of the family who died in the house, and it covered pretty much stories of every family, which I really liked. And then in addition to that, it touched a lot on the last man to die in the house, who actually was a serial killer, which added another layer of creep on top of that. And then also the classic creepy effects of ghostly things, slamming doors, creepy footsteps, all of that. The spooky storyline felt really, really well paced, and it built up to the last few chapters where it all came to a head, like a 1-2 punch kind of thing. So, in addition to that, though, let's talk about the supporting character, Neil. To me, like I said before, Neil stole the show. Very sweet and understanding, really kind hearted and supportive. I feel like he's the type of classic person when I would give you the shirt off his back. That's this guy. He absolutely would give you the shirt off his back without hesitation if he felt you really needed it. And he was so loving to the character, which I thought was really refreshing. To me, it felt like they had a really healthy relationship. Appreciated that really healthy relationship, though, towards the end of the book. We'll talk about that in the things I don't like in a minute here. Uh, but another thing I did like was the pacing of the book. Started out really solid and got right to the main point and steadily built on the creepy house plot the entire time. It got more intense with every chapter. Every piece of the story felt like it served to further along the plot. There wasn't any fluff where you're sitting in a seat and it didn't serve bigger picture. I'm really nitpicky when it comes to the of a book. have chapters of fluff in there trying to make it longer, I'm probably not even going to finish because I really don't like when you add extra stuff just to try to beat that doesn't serve any point. This book did not do that at all, which I really, really appreciate. I sat down on the couch actually to read this one, and it took me about 5 hours to read full because I was flipping through this book while I was watching Netflix at the same time. So that slowed me down a little bit. But I just couldn't put it down, so I ended up even finishing it. And that was in part due to the pacing, and obviously because I'm a pretty fast reader. But the pacing of this book was. And the last thing I really liked about this book was the ending. If you guys have been hanging out with me for a while now, you know I am extremely critical of the ending. The ending, obviously, in my opinion, makes or breaks the book. And in this case, I'm beyond pleased with how the book ended. It had a solid conclusion and doesn't leave me with any unanswered questions. You know, my number one pet peeve are unanswered questions. I hate them. I find them so bothersome, and this book gave everything in a nice, neat bow, pretty package. And I appreciate that. But as always, we have to cover the things that I didn't like. And this is a big ding against this book, but the main character didn't like her. I didn't like her for 3/4 of the book. I found her to be completely annoying. I just wanted to just grab her shoulder, shake her a little bit, and tell her to stop being a brat. I consider myself, personal life, I'm a really independent person too, and I pride myself on my independence. But there were a lot of times in the book where she just took it too far. And the fact that she doubled down on it, basically, instead of being willing to ask for help, really, really did bother me. But I will say, by the end of the book, absolutely did redeem herself. So she's not totally. It just took her the majority of the book to not irritate me anymore. And that's really unfortunate. You're supposed to love the main character and root for the main character. And it took me a while to say that. But that's really my only critique. Yes, the plot was definitely something we've seen before. It's a pretty, cookie cutter haunted house story. But I don't really think I would consider that a negative. It was really well written and had some different ideas that breathed fresh air into the plot that you've probably seen before. Though if you've read Ghost. So not bad, really. Honestly, not bad of a book. So with all of that into consideration, then it is time for us to rate it. And you guys know our book scale over here. I gave this book 3 hearts. Now I know it's not 4, but 3 hearts is a super positive review. And you guys know I only reserve 4 for the best of the best. Those are those books that leave a lasting impression on me. And I'm extremely picky about the ones that I give 4. 4 is my highest rating. So this one I can't give 4 hearts because I just don't feel that strongly about it after reading it. I didn't find myself thinking about this plot and thinking about the things in my head of what I would have done differently in the book, parts about it that I liked. Once I finished it, I was done with it. A pleasant read, though. That doesn't mean, though, just giving it 3 hearts, that I don't think it was an amazing. 3 hearts for this book in particular, because it kept my interest the full way through, so much that I read it all in one sitting. That's big. In addition to that, I enjoyed the characters, the plot, and the ending. I felt it did a really good job. So my recommendation for this is if you love supernatural books and a good ghost story, go read this one. You will like it. You will not be disappointed. It was a quick read and held my interest the whole way through. And I actually do think it does have some read value. I could see myself reading this one again someday when I feel like I'm in the mood for a good. If I leave this one in my library at home, I'll probably read it again at some point. But as always, you guys, please let me know what you think. Do you want to read this book? Have you already read it? Let me know your thoughts. And thank you again for stopping by my channel. If you like the content and want to see more, please consider subscribing too. But until next read, I will see you guys soon. Have a great one.